We are working on GMetrix Word Project Review 2. We're on page 1. The first task wants us to go ahead and apply the title style to the word flowers here in the first paragraph. So we'll go ahead and select that text. We'll go to the Home tab, and what we want to select is this one right here, title. We'll check that we did that task. Task 2 wants us to go ahead and modify the color of the title style, and we're going to apply the gold accent 3 darker 25% color. So what we want to do is we're on the Home tab, Styles group, and what we're going to do is right click that title we just selected, and what we're going to do is select Modify. Here in this section, what we want to do is change it from the color Automatic to Gold Accent 3, so we'll look for that color first. It's this one, and what we're looking for is darker 25%. If you're not sure, make sure you hover to make sure that you select the correct color, and we'll go ahead and click OK. And we'll mark that we completed that task. The next task wants us to go ahead and apply the heading 1 style to broad-leaved arrowhead here in the second column on the first page. So we'll select that text. We'll go ahead and select heading 1. And then it wants us to apply the intense emphasis to the words flowers, leaves, preferred habit, preferred habitat, flowering season, and distribution. If you look at the GMetrix instructions, it'll tell you to select all of these at the same time by clicking and holding the control key. I would advise you not to do that, and the reason being is if you select too much, you could get the question wrong because of it. So for this, we'll go ahead and select each word individually. So first word is flowers. We'll go ahead and apply the intense emphasis. We'll check that we did this task. This task wants us to go ahead and apply a bulleted list, starting at location all the way to certain types. So the first thing that we want to do is just apply the basic bullets, which if we just click the bullet button, we'll go ahead and do that. Now it's telling you two things. You have a first level and a second level. And so what we want to look for is all the second level from here. There are a few ways to do this. I'm going to go ahead and put my cursor here in your geographical area first, because that needs to be second level. And so there are a few ways to do that. If you click this button right here in the paragraph group, notice it pushes it over. Same thing here. If I hit tab on my keyboard, it will do the same thing that we just did with this button. And so what we'll do is anything that's not one of these headings will get pushed over. Let me go ahead and add here that if you tab, maybe you tabbed it twice and that's too far. If you click this button here, it'll go back, or if you hit Shift Tab on your keyboard, it will bring it back. We'll go ahead and mark that we completed this task. This task wants us to go ahead and apply a hyperlink to the text color of the blooms. This is the second main bullet point here. So we'll highlight that text. We'll go to the Insert tab here at the top. We're in the Links group. We'll go ahead and click the Links drop-down, Insert Link. What we want to do is put a website. So we want to do existing file or web page, and in the address bar, we're going to go ahead and type the full URL here in this section. We'll go ahead and click OK, and we'll click that we completed this task. This task wants us to go ahead and create a macro in this document. Now I want to caution you to be careful where you put your cursor here, because you could by accident alter some text in this document as you're creating your macro. So just watch. If anything looks weird, you can always undo after you create your macro, but just be watching your document. So what we want to do here is go to the View tab here at the top. We're in the Macros group. We'll click the Macros drop-down, and what we want to do is select Record Macro. It tells us that we want to call this Cooper 12. It tells us that we want to store the macro in this current document, and so flowers here is what we want. If you have a bunch of numbers from going back and forth checking your work, you just want to make sure that the title here matches what's in the title bar. And so for this, it's flowers, it's obvious, but if it's a bunch of numbers, just check and make sure you're saving it into the current document. We'll go ahead and click OK. If you look at my cursor here, I don't know if you can see it, but you have a cursor with a tape display. That means Word is recording everything that you're doing. So you want to be careful what you select and what you do. But what we want to do first is select the Cooper Black font. We're going to go to the Home tab. In here, we're going to go ahead and scroll through our list until we find that font. And then the next thing we want to do is change it from 11 to 12 point font. So we'll just click the up arrow here to give that. And you want to be careful because Word is still recording what you're doing. And so you want to stop your macro. There are a few ways to do this, but we'll go back to how we started it. We'll go to the View tab. We're in the Macros group. We'll select Macros dropdown, and we'll select Stop Recording. We'll click that we completed that task. This task wants us to run the macro we just created to these bullet points from the list that we made earlier. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and select Location first. We're on the View tab, Macros group. We'll go ahead and click View Macros, and this time with that selected, we'll click Run. We'll do colors of the bloom, same thing. View Macros, Run. And like I said before, you can select multiple text lines at the same time, but you run the risk of selecting too much and altering text that you did not want to do. I would encourage you to be safe instead of sorry, but it's up to you. We'll click View, Run, and we'll do our last one, allergens. View, here, Run. We'll go ahead and click that we completed that task. This task wants us to go ahead and select the text flower name all the way to often pickled. And what we're going to do is convert this text to a table. To do that, we want to go to the Insert tab here at the top. Now, let me stop before we go too far. If you look right here at my selection, you can notice that I've selected too much. I'm going to make sure I select just my text here, because when you go to create this Insert tab, Tables drop down, Convert text to table, here we're supposed to have 3 columns and 5 rows. But had I kept that selection, the too much selection that I had, it would alter these settings right here. So it's important that we just select what we need. Separate text at, and what we're going to keep is at tabs. We'll go ahead and click OK. And notice it went ahead and made a table for us out of that. We'll check that we completed that task. This task wants us to go ahead and change the table style of this table. So what I normally do when I have a table in Word is I'll select this little box here in the left-hand corner to make sure that I selected the entire table. And because we have a table selected, we have the Table Tools Design tab here at the top. And so in this table styles, we want to click this More drop down. It says it's a grid table. And so what we're looking for is the Grid Table 7 Colorful Accent 3. If you're not sure, make sure you hover over the style until you find the exact name. We'll go ahead and apply that. And we'll click the checkbox here saying that we completed the task. This task wants us to go ahead and insert an image into the document. It tells us that we need to place it below broad-leaved arrowhead. So we'll go ahead and put our cursor here in the second column, just below that heading. We'll go to the Insert tab here at the top. We're in the Illustrations group. We'll go ahead and select Pictures. You want to map to your GMetrix templates folder. And from here, you want to go ahead and make sure you select the correct photo. It says that we want to have the text wrap to be square. And with the picture selected, we have this layout options, and we can go ahead and click that and click square. And then we want to change the height and the width. So here with the picture selected, we have the Picture Tools Format tab, and we can go ahead and change the height here. And it went ahead and changed the width to 2.5 for me. We'll go ahead and check that we completed that task. This task wants us to go ahead and apply a glow to this picture. So with that selected, we have the Picture Tools Format tab. We want to go ahead and select Picture Effects, Glow, and what we're looking for is the 8-point dark green. And it's the accent color too, so we'll go ahead and select that. And we'll check that we completed that task. This task wants us to go ahead and put absolute positioning for this picture. So with the picture selected, we're on the Picture Tools Format tab. Let's go to the Size group and open this dialog launcher box. From here, we can go to Position. In the horizontal section, we're going to go ahead and do Alignment Left relative to Column. And for our vertical, what we want to do is do the absolute position. It says that we need to have 0.05. And it says below paragraph. We'll go ahead and click OK. And we'll check the box that says that this task is complete.